Welcome to this episode. In the grand sweep of African history, civilizations such as ancient Egypt and Nubia have long been recognized for their extraordinary contributions to science, mathematics, and engineering. While conventional wisdom tells us that these societies were advanced for their time, many scholars and thinkers wonder, could they have had access to technologies that seem like science fiction to us today? Could the ancient Egyptians and Nubians have harnessed electricity, or even mastered the concept of teleportation, centuries before modern science even imagined such things? These questions might sound far-fetched, but when we reconsider the monumental achievements of these civilizations, it becomes difficult to completely dismiss the possibility that their technologies went far beyond what we can currently comprehend. Electricity, for example, is a cornerstone of modern life, powering everything from our homes to our devices. But the question is, was electricity a discovery of the modern era, or did ancient societies possess some form of this energy far earlier than we realize? When we think of ancient Egypt, it is easy to imagine massive stone structures and grand monuments, but there is something else lurking beneath the surface that hints at the possibility of electric energy. The famed Dendera light, an ancient Egyptian relief found in the Hathor temple at Dendera, has sparked the imagination of many for decades. This image appears to show a large light bulb-like object being held by a figure with an elongated filament and a connection to a serpentine cable. To many, this depiction suggests that the ancient Egyptians may have had some form of electric lighting long before Thomas Edison or Nikola Tesla. While mainstream archaeologists dismiss this interpretation, claiming that the images are symbolic representations, there is still a question that remains unanswered. Could it be that the ancient people of Kemet were familiar with electricity, but that the true nature of their understanding was lost to history? Ancient texts and artifacts often hint at technologies that seem impossible by today's standards. In the case of the Egyptians, their advanced knowledge of metallurgy, stone cutting, and acoustics demonstrates that they were capable of harnessing natural forces in ways we don't fully understand. Could they have discovered a way to generate and control electricity for practical uses? Some researchers have proposed that the ancient Egyptians could have used electroplating techniques to coat objects in gold, a process that requires the use of electrical currents. Could this suggest that the Egyptians had access to a form of electricity, or at least some rudimentary understanding of it? Adding to the speculation, the famous Baghdad battery, an artifact believed to be around 2,000 years old, is often cited as evidence that ancient civilizations had the knowledge of electricity. Found in modern-day Iraq, this ancient clay jar, with a copper rod and iron core, is thought by some to be an early form of galvanic cell, potentially capable of generating an electric current. While there is debate about its true function, the discovery has spurred the imagination of those who believe that ancient civilizations may have had access to electric power long before we credit them for it. But perhaps even more mind-boggling than electricity is the idea of teleportation, a concept that has been popularized by science fiction, but has roots in theories about quantum mechanics and the manipulation of space-time. Could the ancient Egyptians and Nubians have understood principles of physics that allowed them to manipulate matter in ways that we cannot yet imagine? Teleportation, as it is understood in modern science, involves the transfer of matter from one point to another instantaneously. While this concept might seem light years away from the technological abilities of ancient civilizations, there are a few elements that suggest the possibility of advanced manipulation of space and time. The Egyptians' precise knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and the alignment of the pyramids with celestial bodies indicates a sophisticated understanding of the physical world. Could they have harnessed these principles to manipulate the very fabric of space-time? The idea of teleportation is not entirely alien to ancient texts. Some scholars point to the legend of the Ark of the Covenant, which was said to possess incredible powers, including the ability to transport or teleport objects instantaneously. Ancient myths often speak of gods and divine beings who could travel vast distances in the blink of an eye. And while these accounts are typically seen as religious or mythological, there may be hidden knowledge within them. Could these stories be encoding a deeper understanding of physics and technology that has been obscured by time and culture? In Nubia, a land rich in minerals and metals, the technology for such advanced manipulation might have been even more plausible. Nubians were known for their exceptional ability to work with metals, including gold, copper, and iron. Some even believe that the advanced metallurgical practices of Nubia could have played a role in the development of electrical devices or other energy-related technologies. Their prowess in goldworking, combined with a deep spiritual connection to the natural world, may have facilitated their understanding of natural forces in ways that allowed them to unlock technologies far beyond what modern science currently acknowledges. Moreover, the temples and pyramids of Egypt and Nubia are aligned with incredible precision, both to cardinal points and to celestial bodies, such as the stars of Orion. Could this alignment have had a deeper, more practical function? Some have suggested that these alignments were not merely symbolic, but that they may have been part of a larger system of energy manipulation, potentially involving sound, light, and even electromagnetic fields. Could these ancient structures have been designed not just for religious or astronomical purposes, but to harness and channel natural forces in a way that we still struggle to understand? As we look to the past, we are forced to reckon with the possibility that the Egyptians and Nubians might have had access to advanced technologies that we are only beginning to explore in modern times. The idea that they could have known how to generate electricity or even manipulate space-time is a tantalizing one, but it is not entirely out of the realm of possibility. The evidence may not be immediately apparent, and it may be hidden in plain sight within the symbols, texts, and monuments of these ancient civilizations. The story of Kemet and Nubia is still being written, and as we uncover more about their achievements, it's possible that we will find that their understanding of the world was far more advanced than we ever imagined. And now, let us turn to one of the most intriguing possibilities of all: flight. Could the ancient Egyptians and Nubians have possessed knowledge of flight long before the Wright brothers? The idea may seem fantastical, but there are compelling artifacts that raise questions about the possibility of aviation in antiquity. The Saqqara bird, a small wooden model found near Cairo in the late 19th century, has captured the imagination of many. This bird-shaped object, dating back to around 2000 BCE, bears an uncanny resemblance to a modern airplane, with its curved wings and stabilizing tail. While some scholars have dismissed it as a symbolic or ceremonial object, others believe it may represent an early conceptualization of flight, demonstrating that the Egyptians understood aerodynamic principles that could have paved the way for flying machines. Such claims are further supported by depictions of flying objects in other ancient cultures. The Indian subcontinent, for example, is home to texts known as the Vimanas that describe flying machines used by gods and ancient kings. These descriptions, found in ancient Indian epics such as the Mahabharata and Ramayana, detail flying ships that could travel vast distances, sometimes through the air, and at times even to other worlds. The Vimanas are often described as being capable of emitting fiery energy, resembling a powerful propulsion system. Though these accounts are considered mythological, they contain startling similarities to modern-day depictions of flying vehicles, suggesting that ancient cultures might have had some rudimentary understanding of flight or energy that we have only begun to unlock in the present day. In Egypt, the connection between flight and advanced technology is not purely speculative. The ancient Egyptians' understanding of geometry and their architectural prowess in constructing the pyramids and other monumental structures suggests that they were masters of both physical and metaphysical principles. It's conceivable that their knowledge of sound, energy, and natural forces could have extended into the realm of flight. After all, if they could construct colossal structures that seem to defy conventional understanding, what other technological feats could they have achieved? Perhaps the true understanding of flight was encoded in their sacred knowledge, hidden away in plain sight within their art, monuments, and sacred texts. In Nubia, a civilization known for its advanced work with metals, the idea of flight could similarly be possible. Their skills in metallurgy and their intimate connection with natural forces would have made them ideal candidates to have experimented with technologies like flight or aerial vehicles. Just as we see in ancient Egypt, the Nubians understood the dynamics of energy, motion, and power, potentially placing them in a position to develop or conceptualize such technologies long before modern history credits them. The idea of flight in ancient Kemet and Nubia may seem fantastical, but the artifacts, myths, and evidence we have suggest that these cultures possessed an understanding of the world that was far more advanced than we typically acknowledge. While there is no definitive evidence that they created functional flying machines, the possibility remains, an enigma woven into the fabric of their extraordinary achievements. In conclusion, while the notion that ancient Egyptians and Nubians had mastered electricity, teleportation, or flight remains speculative, it is not beyond the realm of possibility. Their mastery of engineering, mathematics, and natural forces points to a deep understanding of the physical world that could have extended into realms of science we are only now discovering. It is crucial that we look beyond conventional narratives and remain open to the possibility that ancient African civilizations were not only the cradles of civilization, but also the keepers of technologies that are still far ahead of our time. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the past, we must be prepared for the surprising and profound truths that may lie hidden in the shadows of history. Thanks for watching this episode. Do remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and look out for the next one on Africa's great civilizations.